Good day and welcome to another edition of Africans Online. I am Nwachukwu Emmnuel. Today is the 6th day of February 2017 and you are all welcome to this wonderful edition. Like you all know, this time around we are introducing our staffs to you all so that you know the people we will be dealing with, the people that will be bringing you informations, updates, revelations, and political views. Although our staff on display now on your screens are not the whole of our staffs, these are the available ones at this moment. We hope to make our introduction full on the day of our official opening, which we are announcing. 25th of February is going to be the official opening of our network, and it will be coming live to you. You will be entertained with a lot of stuffs, party, commentaries, and also introductions of our staffs, friends, audience, and what have you. But as you can see on the screen there, the people you have on screen right now are the staff of Africans Online Network. First of all, you have Mr. Mike Bordeaux, who is a director and executive producer. He will be also taking on the political aspects of our broadcasting. Also on top there is myself, Nwachukwu Emmnuel, the director, also an executive producer. I'll be dealing with general oversight of the day-to-day running of the network. The man you see there on the keyboard is also a producer, at the same time our cameraman. He's Ike Nanayawa. The sister there at the bottom of your screen there is Madam Francisca, aka Akos. She will be presenting the request shows and also after church broadcasts on our network on Sundays, and a lot of other entertainment programs. We also have one of our staffs who the picture is not on screen right there. She's Mrs. Voff. She is going to be presenting a very interesting program, a program that has to do with maturity, family life, and other aspects of our responsibilities as parents. Proper introduction of our staff will be done on the 25th of February, this very month we are in, when we'll be having the official opening of our network. Hope you'll be there. We have invited lots of guests. It's going to be a party day. It's going to be lots of fun, communications, interactions. A program also will be calling program where audience and also viewers will be allowed to also partake in expressing their happiness on what's going on that day. But meanwhile now, what we want to do is to go into my diary. We go into my diary. We are going to read some of the presentations that are going to make it on our live shows that are very, very dear to the mind and the operation of Africans Online. Mind you, the best program that is going to be run here on our broadcast is going to be the revolutionary aspect of it. So with an automated voice recorder, we are going to read what is stated in my diary that you can also find online on our website www.africansonline.de. On that website you find a column that has my diary. When you go to that very site, all what we are going to read here plus more informations are revealed there. So I'd like you people to pay attention as we read and try to a little bit expatiate on the views and revelations that are written herein. So first of all, I want us to look at who we are as a people. Everybody, man, woman, no matter your race, no matter where you're living around the world, what are we really? There's a very thoughtful write-up I had here that is going to be read now with the automated voice recorder or voice reader. It really needs you to take your time and go over it again and again to understand it. Here we go.
The free slave. Who is this? Well, it looks like the majority of the world are free slaves, both white and black. Because the world went through the slavery process and experience, which still remain today, but in a well-polished and organized system, and running the center of ideologies and development around the world.
This is saying who is the free slave. It's about free slave. Who are really free slave in this very time we are living in. It's talking about trying to put the whole of us in that very category of being free slaves, both white and blacks. Why are we free slaves? Why did we turn to free slaves? It's because we went through the slavery process and experience. But mind you, the slavery process and experience is still in process. It's still in progress. It never ended. But today what you have, a polished and organized system of slavery. But it is still the center of ideology and development around the world. Slavery is still the center of ideologies and development around the world. Now it's polished and is organized. That is what this page is all about. Keep listening.
Many individuals, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries are still locked up on their own, to this uncivilized culture of self-deceit, of how civilized.
It's talking about everybody, how everybody is locked up on this uncivilized culture of self-deceit, of thinking how civilized the world has become. We all think that the world has become so civilized. It says many individual, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries, all of us are locked up on this uncivilized culture of self-deceit, believing that we are living in a more civilized world. Let's go on.
Many individuals, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries are still locked up on their own to this uncivilized culture of self-deceit, of how civilized the world has become. It seems to me that even the most educated has lost or deliberately confused the meaning of words. For example, development and civilization.
Okay, now the most important thing we cherish in life today is money, and money has given us access to development and civilization. And these two words, development and civilization, seems to go hand in hand, that people have contradicted them in so many ways, mishandled and misused them in so many ways, that it seems as if even the most educated has deliberately confused the meaning of the word development and civilization. We are going to tackle with these words in the real meaning of it. Now, let's see what it goes to talk about civilization.
Talking about a civilized person, you need to see a down-to-earth manner, non-violence approach, ready to negotiate principles, and most of all, understanding and acknowledgement of the power, blessing, and the grace of God.
Okay. If you are talking about a civilized person, you need to see someone, a civilized person have to be someone who is down to earth. He's non-violent. Anything you like to do, civilization, if somebody is civilized, cultured, it has a lot to do with the spiritual upbringing and the spiritual belief, because at the end of this paragraph, you say it has to do most importantly with understanding and acknowledgement to the power, blessing, and the grace of God. The person who is civilized needs to have God in order to be down to earth, to be non-violent in his approach, no matter how you force him to the wall. He be somebody who is always ready to negotiate any condition. You have this principle always in him, to negotiate any condition that arises to get the best of it. This is what somebody who is civilized. Civilized in this manner, if we are going down our lectures, you'll find out where we talk about spiritual and carnal. Civilization, in other words, have a little atom of spirituality in it, because it has to do with the coated blessing of understanding and acknowledgement of the power, blessing, and the grace of God. To be a civilized person, you have to be down to earth. You have to be non-violence, meaning you are not going to fight. You don't kill nobody. You don't approach people by physical combat. You must be ready to negotiate conditions as to get the best. This is what civilization is. Now let's talk about developed person, somebody who's developed. And they see how all these things have to do with individuals, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries.
Talking about a developed person, you need to see an educated person, rich person, someone with possibilities, communication, transportation, and much more, but all this does not prove civilized person.
Yeah. If you are talking of somebody who is developed, you need to see somebody who developed his IQ, education-wise, knowledge-wise. If somebody develops in that scale, you need to see a rich man, somebody is well-to-do who can take responsibilities of his own and take care of so many things, get them done. The development covers all aspects of his life, his personal brain, wisdom, knowledge, also his lifestyle. All is developed from his house to his cars to the kind of things he does. All is in a developed well, in a higher standard. He has the possibilities of better communications, better movements, that is in transportation, how he transports himself from one place to the other. You see, he does these things in a developed manner with developed technologies, because he has the education that gave him the richness that make him comfortable with communication and the transportation, everything that goes with it. But this same person can be rude. This same person, you can see that somebody who has all these qualities might not be down to earth. This same person might be a violent person. This same person might be somebody who is not ready to negotiate. He just, because he's rich, you need to come his own way for things to get done. He must be on his terms. This person does not even understand or acknowledge the power, blessing, and grace of God. But he's developed. When you don't have all these other criteria, that means the criteria of civilization, you cannot be civilized just because you are developed as a person. You are educationally developed, rich, you are personally rich, you are well-to-do, you have possibilities of communication, transportation, development around you, your house, your car, your company, everything around you is developed. But you lack being a down-to-earth person. You lack having the non-violence approach. You lack the principles of negotiation. You lack the understanding and acknowledgement of the power and blessing and grace of God. Then you are developed but not civilized. Let's continue now to go down to see how these things has to do with individuals, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries.
Likewise, corporate bodies, religious sects, and countries can be developed but not civilized. In fact, there are only a few civilized countries of the world, which are also not visible or outstanding ones.
Yeah. For these reasons, if we know how these things happen in life, the rim, it starts from small and grows big. For these reasons, as it happens in individual lives, it's the same way it happens in corporate bodies, it happens in religious states, it happens in countries. They can be developed, but they are not civilized because of their manners, because of their lack of the things that represent civilization. But because of the contradiction, because of the so much knowledge that has confused the meaning of words, people have contradicted, misrepresented the words and mixed them up, development and civilization. There are countries, a few countries that you can say, we can look at and say maybe they are civilized. But we as human beings, for all I know, we are not given the possibilities of judgment. So, but what is true is that the sample of God remains even in the eyes of plenty of shit. The goodness of God must prevail somewhere to show, to shine the light. And there are a few countries Maybe not the very visible ones or those outstanding, very great nations that we're thinking about. So let's continue.
Needless to call names because we might not be the ones to make the judgment, but on the part of those we see as civilized countries, all these great nations we adore. It will not take a rocket scientist to know that they are not civilized, but will take people who have lost their minds and ways to think that they are, just as I was asking from the beginning.
Yeah, that is what it means. It would only take people like every other person who is out there who thinks that we are developed, that we are civilized at the same time developed, not knowing that we are only developed but we are not civilized. If you watch what is going all around the world, like we said, the civilized man will not go on fighting around. The world, all the nations are warmongers. They are fighting. Even those most developed ones are setting up some kind of precedent that show evil. This is no civilization. They don't have the abilities that represents civilization. These nations are not down to earth. They cannot sometimes take humiliations just because they want to make peace for the sake of the powerless. Meaning they are not down to earth. They instead go by way of violence, which is not a part of civilization. They are not ready to negotiate. Some of them don't. We have seen it in most of the civilized countries. They come to a particular clause, they say we don't negotiate this. It's unnegotiable. These are not the qualities of civilization. Most of the nations, they only say they believe in God, but we can see according to what is happening, the way trend of things, even through our houses of belief, the churches, the mosque, and all where we go to take our praises and our worship, we can see that they don't even understand or acknowledge the power, blessing, and the grace of God, but they pretend they do. So when all these qualities are missing in these developed nations, how can you say they are civilized? A civilized man don't go around fighting on the street. You become a thug. A thug is not a civilized man. Somebody who fights, no matter how rich you are fighting on the street, on parties, in the parties, you drive your car, you want to show everybody you are the greatest, you pack it. It happens in my country, and it happens in another method in the Western world. Don't say it's only in Africa. People pack their cars just to show off. They come out on the street, they order their boys to beat you up. Or they can beat you up if they know they are more muscular. There are some of them who take trainings because they are rich, they can afford it. They beat you up themselves. They call the police on you. It happens like that raw in Africa, and in the Western world, it has another style of intimidation by those men who believe, sometimes physical also. And these people have they are vulgar in their words, they are intolerant, they are brutal in action. When somebody is in that manner, no matter how rich he is a developed man and not a civilized man. You don't say somebody is civilized just because he has a lot of money, just like we believe that these countries are civilized just because they have a lot of money, the whole place is developed, shining, everything is smart. But that has nothing to do with civilization. Now we continue.
The free slave, who is this? 1. These are the slave masters who have from the onset followed the design of their ancestors, but by the grace of development today has sought ways to redesign and modernize the system, leaving them as always the slave masters, meaning they are.
Okay. Now, we talk about the two people, the slave masters and the slave. That's the thing what we have on earth here. We have the people who are the slave masters and the slave. That's what we had before in a raw form, But because of this development, the grace of development, we are thinking a civilization. It's not, because it's development, the grace of development, of having good things, beautiful things, the possibility of technology that gave development, that gave us development, we are using today to be smart, to be developed, to equip our houses, our everything we're doing. The grace of that changed because we lived in a world of that change, evolved with time. They cancelled slavery. We know the slave masters, but they cancelled it by what? Then development now changed. They sought a way to redesign and modernize the system. The slavery system is going on around the world in prisons. Prison is a slave system. So many innocent people who are in prison are being forced to, in advanced war, to work in prison in doing the same job with a lower salary, just to nothing the people outside are doing. So many of them have been already marked as prisoners. They keep going back to prison. When you enter the first time, you keep going back there, you have already been marked. You become the modern slaves. It happened in so many European wars. I have myself have been a victim of that. Going to prison for what you didn't do. And go in there, you work the same job that others take up to 1,000, 2,000 euros. You will do that job for 100 euros a month. It's slavery in an advanced and very cordial, registered legal means. It's going on in so many other aspects, and even in your jobs you are doing. The laws of the land condition you to this advanced slavery. You have no choice than to do it because you want to survive, your family, yourself, and so many other things. So many countries are worse than others. But there is this advanced slavery, the way it has been done before, still going on now in a new modernized system. So those slave masters still remains the slave masters, meaning they are also free slaves. They are free slaves. They have always been free from slavery. These are the leaders of the world, I mean now. The people who believe they have the say. Countries, individuals, corporate bodies, what have you, is organized in pockets by pockets. So all of them are still free slaves. And once that name slave associates with you, we are going to get to who you are, so that we know who we really are. If all of us who are the slaves, we now know that those people who are the slave masters are free slaves, because the slavery is still going on and they are the masters. They still remain the masters, controlling the slavery in a well-designed, organized manner this time. So that makes them free slaves. Now let's talk about the second aspect of
free slaves.
Yes.
2. These are the ones who the development, grace, and system modernization have set free, but are still on the way to get home. Why? Because they are programmed to think like their slave masters. Otherwise, they are free, but they are still not themselves. Free slaves.
Okay, this is the second part. The people who were held in captivity those days as the slaves themselves. In these days, because of the development, the grace of development has freed them in a way that they believe there are no more chains, there are no more strange commands or rules placed on them. They are now free. because modernization, the face of life today have changed, that they have modernized the whole system, even the slavery itself. These people are now free, but what makes them still free? Because they have not gotten home. Getting home is to be yourself completely, that you can think from your head, from your mind. We can see even the blacks in America today. They are thinking just the way their slave masters taught them. They are still working with another man's mentality. We also, who are black Africans, have not been given that opportunity to come up. Even today you can see it. There is a lot of things going on in the African world that nobody knows of it. When they say United Nations, we are not involved. We are just like Africans are just like being played around with. When one European, one American dies, it's news everywhere around the world. When 50 Africans die, nobody hears about it. It's nothing, it's nobody. So we can still see that those ones back home have still been locked up in the slavery without chains. They are free, but they are still slaves. The ones in America are still in the same bondage. They can wear shine, they can talk, they have no chains, but they can talk only what is being controlled and remotely operated into them. They are free, but they are not themselves.
Because the slave master and the slave are now free slaves, they can only develop but not civilized. So don't be surprised or confused in understanding why the world have taken this dramatic twist to evil. Without God, there can be no civilization, and without civilization, there can be no peace.
That is it. Because the slave master and the slave are now free slaves. The slave masters have their system of still continuing to be slave masters. So they are free slaves. The slaves who have been freed from shackles but are not in their right minds, are not being allowed to operate like free people, they are still free slaves. So what do you get when these two free slaves operate? You can only get development. There is no civilization because people are still enslaving others, which you don't get in civilization. That is why there is a lot of development all around the world. But the face of evil shines right into every one of our eyes. Now, let's come to revelation, sorry. This is about what is happening around the world. The state of the world today. America is the greatest nation on earth. Nobody disputes that. Even the most jealous of nations will not disprove that. So we know also that anybody in the seat of power in America is somewhat known as the president of the world. He has a lot of influence, he has a lot of inputs into what is going on and how things will be walking around the world. So now, African Online, being a revolutionary station, has a lot to dream about based on America and its relation to the world. And now, because of the time we are living in, there's a special revelation to America and the last election, which all of us know was something more than just an election. So this piece here is about Trump, and especially me and my revelations of the end days. Listen to this.
Me and Trump. Sometime 4 years ago, when Mr. Trump made his first gesture of running for the presidency of the United States, was when the revelation came to me that someday Mr. Trump will become President Trump, the President of the United States of America, and what his office will mean to the world and our time.
Mind you, and listen carefully, this very revelation came 4 years ago, not just last year when Trump came out as a presidential candidate. 4 years ago, when he made the first gesture of running for office. He went back that time, he didn't continue, he wasn't serious. But immediately that outcome, the revelation came, that man will be one day the president of the United States of America. Now, let's go on.
So, seeing him come out 2016, I couldn't help believing that he must win, since it was a revelation and not my prediction. During the course of the election, at the height of all the misrepresentations and misinformations, it became clear to me that the very attack strategy and the means by which it was delivered, the media, will be the major reason why he must win.
So, that is it. When I had that revelation, then 2016 he came out again. From that minute, I had no doubt. I didn't wait for the campaign. I didn't wait to hear all it didn't get to the heat of it. From the beginning of him coming in, making declaration of running for president, I got it. And I started from that time without any facts, without any reason, because I had no reason to have reasons. I have only reason to believe in the revelation. So I started telling to people and stating the revelation where I can that this is the next president of America. And you know all what goes on. Let's listen.
At that point, my revelations became obviously clear, and was full of day-to-day visions on how it will all go down, and I made this known to people around me, friends and family. Like we all know, it couldn't be any rougher to anybody who dares to say any good thing about Trump. You know what I mean. I took some very nasty hits, and some even wanted to go on money bet with me, which I turned down, because revelations are spiritual and sure, making money.
Now I am talking about when I was making this preaching, revealing this revelation to people, like you know, I'm in Germany here, but like you know what happened in the United States, it happened all across the nations because of the attack method, that strategy, that media, the CNN, the MSNBC, MBS, and all what you have, the mainstream media in the United States that reflects their media, that transports their media service outside of the United States. They went completely insane against this man, and that made my revelation very clear. I understood it. So when I went off now to tell people that what they are seeing, what the media is telling them, is not what is going to happen. It's not the truth about what is even happening, and the result they are announcing and predicting is not going to be reality. But we don't know what happens. Wherever you are in the world that time, if you support Trump, there's a lot of things. Even so many families have problems with themselves because of the issue of Trump. So many friends had problems, so many friends were broken, so many enemies fought. So a lot of things happens when you say any good thing. I wasn't saying good things about Trump because I supported him or that I know anything about his personal personality or whatsoever. But I was saying things that looks like to people as if he's supporting him. I was saying he is going to win. He must win. People didn't get my narrative or my perspective of saying he's going to win. I said he's going to win because he is destined to win. It's the will of God for him to win. It's the revelation of God for him to win. For the prophecies of God to come true. The end time must be. And we are living in the end time. Like I always want people to understand. If you're a Christian, if you're a man of God, if you believe in God, be you Christian, be you Muslim, no matter whatever you call yourself, if you really know that your life is with God, you should be happy because you are among those to be testimonies. The people that can testify about when the last day started to happen. You lived till 2017, and 2017, the 20th of January was a special day, the inauguration of Trump. We'll come to that on this, but let's continue.
Half of them will reduce one's spiritual convenience. It's also like going to an exam with an answer sheet, because they are sure to happen.
What I'm trying to say here, people wanted to bait me because they were sure of what they were saying, because what they received from the media was that it's just a one-way street for Hillary Clinton. Completely contrary and to what I was saying, which was completely unbelievable to them. So they wanted to go on money bet with me. I refused it. So many of them thought that because I wasn't sure of what I said. But I told them, even as at that time, I'm not with a revelation. If this is my prediction, that because of his prediction is when you are good in studying events, history, and how they occur, and you can read the way things, you can read a little bit, have a little forecast of how things naturally happens and how things might happen in a time of miss and win. This things goes to how good somebody can be in predicting things. Prediction might happen. Sometimes they happen accurately, but it is not a must. Just like a revelation is a must happen, not a might happen. It must happen because it's a word from, it is a natural thing that has been programmed, that God reveals to you. This is the way. If you wake up to be in 3 months away from that time, that's what you get. Is a revelation. It must happen. So if you bait with a revelation, you are like somebody who has an exam answer sheet going into an exam. You have the whole of the answers, which is completely sure. You must pass because you have it. If you do this with the revelation, the word and revelation of God, then you take money off of it. You are endangering your spiritual powers. You are breaking the covenant with God. It is not meant for your material consumption or achievement. Let's go on.
So many people up to now still believe I am a Trump supporter, even as I have made it clear. I have no reason to support or not support him. I am not living in the USA and did not vote, or have the right to vote. For me, it was, and still is, about what's been revealed to me. I wrote lots of posts from the beginning of 2016 that supports all that I am saying now. Today I am still in better position than anyone to understand the second phase of the revelation, which has to do with what President Trump's leadership means to the time we are living in today, and the world. Today, I am now shouting and crying like the voice in the wilderness, but no one seems to be listening. The truth is, we have finally come to the end of the road for mankind as you know it. Soon it will be the dawn of a new beginning.
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm shouting, now I'm crying for the world to know the time we are in. Nobody's listening. I'm going to now go back to some of these revelations that I wrote last year at the beginning of the presidential campaign. This was 1st of March 2016. This I wrote when the heat of the election has not even started. This I believed, I supported, I knew, I told people. Nobody believed, nobody listened, and it happened. Now, let's go on.
Now listen to one of the most crucial posts I wrote the 1st of March 2016. Quote, "The dark age is now. 2016 a year to care or worry about. For all those who do not understand what time it is, we are living in the last days, and the end is revolving right in our eyes. It starts by breaking up the most powerful. This year 2016, we shall experience the beginning of the end. America, as the most powerful, is about to take up the stage of self-destabilization."
Now, this was 1st March 2016. It's when I wrote that it is a dark day. Let's continue first.
Donald Trump is going to emerge the president of the USA, whether people like it, believe it, or not. What is going on now is the people against the government, establishment, elite, or whatever you call them. If you look and listen closely, Trump has no real attractive policy, but still he's in the lead. Some short-sighted people says it is just in the Republican camp, but the truth is, the Democrats are only fooled because they have no Trump-like candidate on their side. For them it is good, but the wise sees otherwise. Maybe they should be concerned about the voters' turnout from their camp, especially on the Clinton campaign. The people are not concerned about what Donald Trump says or does, because he represents the people, so anything done by him has been done by the people, and is excusable by the people. This is okay for them, and the use of diplomacy, or its language, which generally now is perceived as advanced and controlled way to falsehood. Well, this could be changed, but the price to pay is not only unbearable, but incomprehensible and unimplementable. Instead, the revised looks must appropriate to the Democratic Party. 1. Rallying around Clinton is a grave mistake. The notion that Hillary Clinton will beat Trump is the highest illusion of this time and time. 2. For the fact that the end-time prophecy must come to pass, the Democratic Party must make these mistakes. Bernie Sanders, who is the only hope for more years of a wormbling United America and the world, will fail due to the two above reasons.
So that's it. You see what is said here is a true declaration at that time that Trump will emerge the president and America will start the breakup. And we are seeing it. We are hearing what is happening in California. It's as if it's a surface, it's a action surface, but it's going to go deep. A lot of nations are going to get out from America before the course of 3 years. We are going to see it happening. If you have a pen, if you have a beak, if you have a recorder, you record what African Online, Nwachukwu Emmnuel is telling you at this time. Before 3 years, a lot of nations will go out from United States. There is going to be a lot of riches because business has taken over. And that is going to come up here. Business has taken over from politics, just like politics took over from religion a long time ago. Now, the phase of Trinity, if you will, is complete. Religion, politics, and business is going to spread all over the whole world. Other nations are going to follow suit. When they want to elect their officials, they will because America is going to set that precedent. America is going to show that light by Donald Trump doing the wonders that businessman is going to do in a seat of presidency. It's going to overflow the banks of success. A lot of people, a lot of pockets will be filled with money. At the same time, the understanding that money is the root of all evil is going to frighten a lot of people, that there are going to be a lot of refusal to wealth. You are going to see a lot of confusion in the midst of all these riches. You are going to see a lot of breakups in the midst of all these riches. I continue to say, with words, spiritual words, God created everything you know in creation. And with carnal words, human beings will destroy all that we see in creation for the new day to begin. And the human word comes from the voice of the people, which is the media. We are seeing them not being able to recognize what they are doing. Now, we are going to prove that after reading of all what we have here in our revelational station. We are going to go to our website, my diary, and I'm going to open it up for you people to see some collections of how the media is operating, how they have been operating. Some of them have woken up to understand that they are the problem. They are revealing it to themselves, but still, because the prophecy of God must be fulfilled, the end time has come. They have eyes, they will not be seen. They have ears, they will not be hearing themselves. So many of the media, they are calling out themselves. We have the recordings, the videos that we're going to show you that testify to that. So you just stay tuned as we continue.
Now, what happens with Trump and the presidency? You want to know more? How will all this affect you? Well, first let's talk about the latest revelations.
Now, what people really need to be asking now is, what about the Trump and the presidency? What's going to happen? What's it going to look like this time? This is just what I'm saying. Riches with confusions, breakouts, breakups, and the world beginning to understand that we have finally come to the end. A lot of revolutions will be made after this time. But what you are saying now, and what we are saying now, is just a little insight about how deep things are going to fall apart. We are now going to continue with the revelation that came 20th of January, the inauguration day, the crown day, the day that marked the beginning of the end of this our day time.
This was written the 20th of January 2017 and recognizes this day as the beginning of a new day. Quote, many saw the inauguration of the President of the United States as one of those many usual cultures that follow the peaceful transition of power, but only one man or a few other understood the spiritual significance and its connections to the unprecedented election campaign that came before it. 1. On this date, Donald John Trump was inaugurated as the 45th American president, confirming the revelation of the last days. Spiritually, the name Trump is nothing more than the trumpet revealed to mankind as the instrument to be used in awakening and alerting humanity on the coming again of the Lord or the end of
time. So, what it's saying there is, first of all, on that very 20th of January, after the first revelation of 2016 that revealed that Donald Trump must emerge wave, everything happened, the unbelievable took place, and finally, 20th January arrived, and that day, Donald Trump became the 45th President of the United States. Now, what is remarkable to this is, we are talking about how he lays and what makes us understand this as the truth in the revelation we saw. And the signs that came with them. Now, what happens here is, in these last days, as revealed 2016, that 2016 is a year to care about, is going to mark the beginning. That was the time the election was held, and that was the time General Trump won. But to be sworn in 20th of January, which we also went through. On that day, Trump, the name Trump. Maybe we repeat that very verse again.
Spiritually, the name Trump is nothing more than the trumpet, revealed to mankind as the instrument to be used in awakening and alerting humanity on the coming again of the Lord or the end of time.
Now, spiritually, the name Trump is nothing more than that trumpet. That name Trump was heard loud and clear all around the world on that very 20th May, even before 20th January, even before then, it had been taken. But that day, it was confirmed that that Trump name is now the name standing in that highest office in the world. Meaning, the trumpet has blown, and everybody, so many people around the world, majority of the people were still on their television. So many people in the United States go there, so many on their television sets, just like every other country and states around the world. So many people watch it. A lot of things happen. Even in my own country, Nigeria, in my own people who have nothing to do with it, because they are fighting for their own freedom. They call it the Biafran movement. They are looking for anything to help them achieve what they are looking for. They support anybody. They had a rally on that very day, and people were killed on the 20th of January. There were loud noise. There were trumpets blown even on that very ground of the inauguration that were heard by people who are watching from all around the world through their television screens. The trumpet really blew, and the name is Trump. And that name is going to remain there, shouting and ringing in our eyes and blowing in our ears for another 4 years at least, before we can think about what else and how else we are moving. That is a spiritual sign from God. That name, trumpet, the man triumphed into the seat of leadership in the whole world. Let's go on.
2. On this date, drops of blessings followed immediately the trumpet hung on the podium.
Immediately, Trump, if you watch that inauguration, immediately Trump went on podium. There was showers of rain. That day, they forecasted that there were going to be the rainfall. But it didn't rain that day. It was only a shower, some showers. And that shower was within the time he introduced himself, the first minutes of the speech, and that was all. It was gone. From within the time of speaking and lasted also within the time he was speaking. It didn't rain any further, it was just a shower. This is a sign of the presence, the recognition, the admission, and the endorsement of God on what was going on, because it's his prophecy.
A spiritual signal reminding mankind of the presence and hand of God on what was going on at the time. 3. On this date, The trumpet committed the security of mankind to the hands of God. For the first time at an American presidential inauguration, on this day...
That has never also occurred before. On an inauguration, somebody used the name of God and on occasions. And if you go back to that inauguration speech, you will see him committing the power and the security of the nation to the hand of God. Spiritually, this is God now in control of all what is happening around the world. It had never been done on an inauguration in a podium of the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world. That has never been done. For them to commit themselves at the same time spiritually, the world, to the hands of God as at that time.
For the first time also, no mention or reference to history.
You should also remember on that very day, for the first time, there was no mention or reference to past histories, which has been a kind of culture in inaugurations in the United States. All presidents come there, they make reference, they give some kind of remarks that has to do, point back to the American history, one or two things that makes them great. But that was not done on that day. There was no mention, there was nothing about any past American whatsoever.
A spiritual signal alerting humanity that, behold, old things are passed away, everything is made new. The history starts now. 5. On this date, business took over world leadership from politics, just like politics took over from religion long ago, completing the circle of 3.
That's what I mean. On this very day, the Trinity circle was completed. You know, the Trinity is a term used by so many Christians that who are not necessarily in the book they have as the Bible. But the Trinity is a complete of the good, the bad, and the center, and the middle, the balance. That's a complete. You have heaven, hell, and earth. Complete. There are a lot of science when we are studying what that Trinity and how the Trinity came about, and how it has to do with the setup of everything, the triangles, the 3 dimensions we have, how all these things come in play. We are going to talk about these things as we move on in our program. But now we are only saying that this new entrance of business into leadership is a complete of the same circle of Trinity. It started from religion to politics and now to business, which is what we're explaining is going to be the trend that is going to be followed by other nations, seeing the success that business is going to make now. The amount of money, the overflow of the bank of money that other nations are going to see, the trend will have to be transported to other nations for usage. Let's continue.
6. On this date, there were trumpets blowing from coast to coast, people crying of joy and anger, noise all around the cities on the globe. Rich people, poor people, presidents, religious masters of all denominations, women, and children were all affected one way or the other by this spiritual takeover.
On that day, all these things happened. There were trumpets all over, crying loud and clear like I told you. People died of riots everywhere, trumpets blowing, women, children, presidents, religious leaders, wherever you are, in one way or the other, a lot of people were affected on this very day by that spiritual takeover. That is maybe not so visible for the ordinary eye, but means a lot to the spiritual eye.
7. On this date, the 20th of January 2017 became the beginning of a new day. All these happening carnally, easy for mankind to absorb and discharge without any spiritual references.
Yeah. All these things that happen on this very day, the 20th of January 2017, happen carnally because it is the way we do things normally. So it is easy for everybody, every other person out there to just take on those things that happens and we get relieved of them just without any spiritual reference to them or meaning, attributing them to anything that has to do with the greatest of our problems, which is God, the greatest of our cares, the greatest of our what we should be worried about. What has God for us? Let's continue.
But believe me, let those that have eyes see, and those with ears hear. Let he who have ears hear, and those who have eyes see. People have eyes, but they don't see. They have ears, but they don't hear. They go to their places and worship, thinking they can buy God. They know God talks in different ways, different from the way we talk and reason. The trumpet of the last day has just blown, but people are not paying attention. One Trump just triumphed into the highest set of leadership in the world. It came as a surprise to the whole world, but because humanity has been consumed by materialism, this very clear signals is still difficult to comprehend, even as I make the revelation here and now. More trumpet will blow in different other ways, but for those waiting to see angels coming down from above with trumpets and drums, well, you may be swept away by the storm.
It says, for those who have ears, let them hear. For those who have eyes, let them see. People have eyes, but they don't see. They have ears, but they don't hear. They go to their places of worship thinking they can buy God. But they also know that God talks in different ways, quite different from the way we talk and reason. The trumpet of the last days has just blown, but people are not paying attention. One trump just triumphed into the highest seat of leadership in the world. It came as a surprise to the whole world, but because humanity has been consumed by materialism, this very clear signal is still difficult to comprehend, even as I make the revelation here and now. It is just like that. People are not understanding, they are not seeing what is shown clearly. We are waiting for angels to start blowing trumpets and beating drums coming down from an open heaven. Maybe those other signs will come like that, but the beginning of the sign is the name, the trumpet itself that was explained, the first action, call of action. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, wherever you are listening from, we are going to do something else right now. We'll be going over to our website and going on to the column where I have my diary. In this column, we are going to see some kind of misrepresentations that are being done by the media, and the understanding and the worries in their mind. We can see other journalists trying to let others know that they are missing it, but still, because it is meant to be this way, they will not here, what you're seeing up there is our website. This is the website of Africans Online Network, and in here now is my diary. I'm going to expand it so that viewers, you can have a clear shot at my website. But what I'm trying to do here now is to play some of these so that you hear from the media itself, you get their perspectives. This 2017, after the whole mess up, after the whole misinformation, misrepresentation, how they are still going about doing their job. It's their job now to do what they have to do to fulfill the prophecy. Because everybody have to do theirs, whether you do it the good way, whether you do it the wrong way, it becomes your problem. But you have to do according to what is written for you. So let's continue here and hear what this guy has to say to.
With his Supreme Court pick, won over any of those who had criticized him. Joining us in back, the founder of The Blaze and syndicated radio host. Glenn, you've had obviously your fair share of criticism of candidate Trump and President Trump. His Supreme Court pick, I wonder, does it make you rethink your earlier assessment of the kind of president he might turn out to be? Because you were concerned he would not select a conservative jurist.
Yeah, in some ways yes, in some ways no. I didn't think this is a great surprise for a constitutional conservative that was skeptical of what President Trump might do. And on the air today, I apologize to everybody who listened to me, and I said during the primary and during the election, if you're hanging your hat on this, I don't think it's a done deal. I didn't think he would, but he did. And for all of those evangelicals that put everything else aside because they said the Supreme Court is too important, this is a big move for Donald Trump, for them.
What about what else you have seen in the first 12 days of this administration? Are there, I assume there are concerns you continue to have?
Yeah, several. Let's take the, quote, Muslim ban. When I heard that reported on the news, and I saw President Trump, as he's signing it, talking about a ban, I thought, oh my gosh, I was against the Muslim ban. This is one of the things that I thought was really horrible. How is this happening through executive order? This is horrible. Then I watched it on the news, and I heard the media talk about it, and then I went and I read the executive order. It's not a ban. It's a pause. Now, it may turn into a ban. I don't know. It may turn into nothing. I don't know. It's a pause. But what happened was, I think, President Trump, for some reason, was calling it a ban, maybe to throw a bone to the people that actually want a Muslim ban, and I don't know who those people are. And then the media picked it up, and without reading it or knowing that it wasn't really a ban, started calling it a ban. Then everybody started to march. And I will tell you, Anderson, you've...
Mind you, the guy who is saying this right now is also in the media business. He's in the media business. He now really have been calling himself out for missing it all around. And I've seen him on so many other videos after the presidential election, after the win of Donald Trump, regretting, like just he said he's sorry to all the people who heard what he said some time ago. So mind you, these are one of them, one of their own. Now, pay attention to how he continues to address the media and trying to make them become cautious. And pay attention how Anderson Cooper continues, it goes in one ear and goes out from the other ear.
or knowing that it I will tell you, Anderson, you've been in dangerous places in the world, and there comes a time when you can sense, hey, there's trouble coming. At some point, there's trouble coming. Donald Trump is a counterpuncher. Good or bad, like it or not, if you hit him back, he has said, I will hit you back twice as hard. People in the press are hitting him back. People on the street are hitting him back. I hit him back. He hits back twice as hard. We're escalating things. My question to the American people is, how does this end?
Right, where does it go?
We have to. I feel like I'm a very old, puffy Matthew Broderick in war games, and I'm the computer maybe saying the only way to win is to not play the game. How do we not continue to escalate until we are killing each other?
It's interesting though, because I feel like this is a conversation you have, and I mean, this is a thought process that you have been undertaking for a while now. I mean, you are very reflective of your own past comments, and you have talked about adding to divisiveness in some cases in the past. So I feel like this is kind of a continuation of that. Do you have, for you, what is the answer? Because I know many people in the press say, well, look, it's you have to stand up for facts. You have to point out what is true and what is not. I also think nobody should have a knee-jerk negative response to anybody. I think you need to be fair above all things in one's reporting and in one's governing.
Anderson, I gave an interview to somebody this week, and they said, can you name an honest, intellectually honest, and intellectually curious reporter? Honestly, I could come up with one name, and it was yours. I'm not saying that because I'm on your program. That was the response. I don't know enough people who are actually intellectually curious and intellectually honest that will look at this Muslim ban and say, wait a minute, this isn't a Muslim ban. What are we doing? Why are we running this story? It's a Muslim ban. To de-escalate things, you have to be able to say what the truth is. But I've also not heard anybody in the media say, you know what? There are some things that we did that were wrong.
You know, one of the things I've talked to a number of people,
The guy clearly said that he have not heard. Mind you, this is a media man also, pointing their wrongs on their face, that he have not heard any one of them come out to say what they did was wrong. And they continue doing the same thing that they did that was wrong. Let's go on. Let's see what they're saying.
But I've also not heard anybody in the media say, you know what? There are some things that we did that were wrong.
you know, one of the things I've talked to a number of people, former chiefs of staff, Democrats, Republicans, who've talked about the difficulty of transitioning from campaigning to actually being president and being in the White House and governing, particularly for somebody like President Trump, who has not served in government previously. That transition, according to chiefs of staff in the past, for any candidate, for President Obama it was, for many candidates, it's a very difficult thing. And I'm wondering how much of what you've been seeing, we've been seeing in the last 12 days, is just part of a regular kind of realignment, transitioning, kind of figuring out the levers of government, and how much is something more.
You can also notice that Anderson doesn't even have a question to ask, but the guy jumps in and they keep telling him what he's telling him.
I don't. I'm not sure. I mean, I am again.
Because there was no question there. There was no question. It was just somebody bubbling till the end. Then this guy confused about what to answer. Then he had to jump in and answer whatever he feels to tell him.
I feel compelled to express my concern about Steve Bannon. I think he's a very dangerous man, and is a self-proclaimed Leninist that appreciates Lenin's technique of burning everything down and destroying the system so you could rebuild another one. I don't know if it's just politics, if there is a bigger game, or if it's inexperience, but I will tell you, each of us, and me included, have got to watch our words. We have to say, how do I de-escalate this? We have to understand you're working with a counter-puncher. He's going to hit you harder than you hit him. That's only going to ratchet and make you more angry. The press has a profound responsibility to tell the truth and not politic or campaign or be viewed as an army of one, or a service of one party. And to me, that means you almost have to overcorrect on some things, but not when it comes to the truth.
Well, I agree with you on that, and I do think it's very easy to get into a pattern in covering things, even if you're not in public life, just as a citizen watching things, to instantly have a knee-jerk reaction of, a negative knee-jerk reaction. I think that's the easiest thing in the world to do, and I do think all of us have to constantly check ourselves, whatever political stripe we are, whatever our role is, in looking at things with fresh eyes and with unbiased eyes. And I think that's the most critical thing for certainly reporters to do.
Let's just keep our eye on things and try to be reasonable and just be vigilant on that.
Yeah. Going back, I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that is one of it. You can see the guy is asking them not to escalate things, to de-escalate it in any way possible by not challenging and going against their president. He's going to punch you back, and if you punch back, you people continue punching yourself. That means exposing America. Now, let's go again to another one. I find also this very interesting because he's also a media guy.
My next guest says there's a mutual obsession here that's actually bad for both sides. Joining me now is Michael Wolff, columnist for The Hollywood Reporter and writer for Newsweek. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
You wrote in your most recent column that the media Trump. How so? Is it a trap that the journalists are falling into?
Yeah, I think it certainly is a trap, and I think we're in this unusual position of what we think is covering Donald Trump turns out to be, in a sense, actually what we think is debunking Donald Trump turns out to be supporting Donald Trump.
So when we fact check misstatements he says, that helps him.
I think it does. I mean, I think we're doing, he in every situation seems to be provoking an overreaction. So we go into a fit of apoplexy, and what we set up...
You say in every situation they are provoking a reaction. When Trump creates a situation, the media overreacts to it. That's the meaning of that.
Is as we try to go after his credibility, our credibility becomes equally a problem.
I've heard other people make this argument that there's hysteria from the national news media right now. I don't see individual journalists acting hysterical, but maybe the abundance of coverage comes across that way?
Well, first thing, I think that's not true. I think
you see, he doesn't see individual journalists become hysterical. But the man is telling him that it's not true. It's not the bundle. He's now going to describe individual journalists who, even plus himself, he's going to point him out at a point. Keep listening.
Individual journalists are, in many cases, having a nervous breakdown. A good example, the New Yorker. The New Yorker has 100 years, has had one style of journalism, very detailed, very close reporting. Since the election, David Remnick, the editor of the New Yorker, has gone off in fits of bloviation, never seen in the New Yorker before. No facts, no nothing. He knows nobody in this new administration has done no reporting, and yet the world is coming to an end, in his view.
Remnick, if you're come on the program, debate Michael Wolff, but let me channel him for a moment. He said to me at a recent panel discussion, "This is an emergency. Journalists have to act differently." It sounds like you just disagree with that.
Totally. What is the emergency other than the fact that he is personally offended and upset and worried?
You also made the point about reporting. You've been doing reporting on this administration, interviewing Kellyanne Conway most recently for a THR profile. What did you take away from your conversation with Kellyanne?
I think I'm a famous bloviator for for many years, and I think that one of the things about this new circumstance in this new administration is that you got to get in, you got to meet these people, you got to talk to these people, you have to see what's going on.
Are you just sucking up to get access to the White House?
If I'm sucking up a bit to get access, but I'm also trying to, I am the only person, it would seem, who is actually having this conversation, and then my conversations with these people then get retailed throughout the media chain.
Your columns do get a lot of pickup, that's true, but is it appropriate to be writing these pieces that are attempting to maybe go a little easy on them in order to gain access?
Well, I don't think they're necessarily, I don't know what that going easy on them means in this case. I'm going to them and saying, what do you think? What do you believe? Tell me. This is what we want to know. What's going on here?
And it's valuable, you're saying, to have those books, to have that information.
This is what we have done in every other administration.
Yeah.
This is a time, this actually through the transition in these first several weeks, in which the media is in all past instances, in all past administrations, has asked the questions which I am now trying to ask. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are you going to do?
Talking about this war with the media, that's what Trump calls it. You seem to think the media is also at war with Trump. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
But that's what you see. Can I read from your...
Yes, I don't think that there would be anybody who would credibly disagree with this.
Releasing the falsehoods than you people. This guy has called it out now that some of you don't even have access to the president because of the relationship that is not going well, and yet you publish things. From where you get this information? Just from your head, making up news.
At the center of this is this new grail that we have. How are we going to take this guy down?
Let me read from your Newsweek column. Let's put part of it on screen here. You said the media strategy is to show Trump as an inept and craven sociopath. The Trump strategy is to show that media people are hopeless prigs, out of touch with the nation. And then you mentioned me. You said the media correspondent for CNN turns to the camera every Sunday morning and delivers a pious sermon about Trump's perfidiousness. I hope I pronounced that right. Tell me about that particular issue. Do you feel that my style is wrong or my substance is wrong, trying to protect the president?
And I'm with truly no disrespect, but I think you can border on being sort of quite a ridiculous figure. It's not a good look to repeatedly and
You heard what he told him about his own program, that he is in a way a ridiculous figure. He's making a ridicule of himself, coming there every Sunday to talk about Trump, the media. He's just making himself more ridiculous.
Righteously defend your own self-interest. The media should not be the story. Every week, in this religious sense, you make it the story. We are not the story.
Well, there's room for 1 hour a week on CNN for this?
Listen, I love your show. I just wish you wouldn't turn to the camera and lecture America about the virtues of the media and
That is a very good advice for him there. He hopes he doesn't turn around and begin to become a lecturer for Americans on how the media should operate, the norms and everything, because this Brian Statter believes he knows it all.
And everyone trying to attack it. The media will be fine.
The media doesn't need defending in this moment?
The media does not need defending by the media, certainly. And so far the media is, the New York Times front page looks like it's 1938 in Germany every day.
No, it does not. Give me a break.
The New Yorker is, as I say, has left all of its standards behind and now become, an opinion vehicle constantly.
You either think this is an unusual presidency or you don't, right? Isn't that the divide? You either think this is a highly unusual and fact-free world, or you don't. It seems like you think this is sort of normal, like any other presidency.
All new presidencies are unusual. I think this is unusual, and I think it's actually a great story, and which is why I am, like all of us, spending every day on it. So, but there's a very interesting distinction here to make, and many people are not making this. We spend time on this story because it's so interesting.
True.
Everybody else, however, is saying we spend time on this story because it's so appalling. So where's the reality there? The truth is, we really like this. We really want to be on it. We are really. It's a kind of golden media age right now.
That we can agree on for sure. Michael, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Up next, I'm interested, maybe someone who is appalled, a different...
Okay, that is all also we have for you today. This is Africans Online. This is just a little... to be going through with us here on our broadcast. Many a times we'll be running our own broadcasts, original broadcasts, and so many other times we'll be reviewing the other online media and also mainstream media to know and also reveal to you what you should understand and how you should understand it coming up from all these outlets. For now, it's been a wonderful time with you.